Hi everybody, how are you doing? So I've taken a little bit of time away from doing videos for various personal reasons, but we have just moved in to Pisces season, so it seems like the right time to start coming through and bringing through a little bit of the energy of Pisces, but also what we can expect for the rest of the year, but particularly really focusing in on spring, which is just around the corner. So Sol, our sun, has moved into Pisces. She just went in late yesterday, and Pisces is the end of the zodiac. She is the dream, she is the mystic, she is the one who has oracular sight, she is the dream, she is the dreamer. You may find in Pisces season that your dreams are really heightened, whether you're working things out in your own psychology or whether you are receiving downloads and inspirations coming through from the astral realms to guide you and to show us the way forward as we traverse through this last part of the silver wheel. So when we move into Pisces season, we still have to have that remembrance that it is still winter. You know, the earth is just gradually beginning to wake up, but Pisces is very much about dissolving. She is about washing away the old, washing away the end of the astrological year, ready for when we go into spring equinox and Sol herself tips into the sign of Aries. So that Pisces Aries cusp is the end and the beginning of the silver wheel. This is an area that she's going to be super active all year. And this super activity is going to really start kicking off in the next few weeks. So on the 2nd of March, Venus begins her descent. So she comes from 10 degrees of Aries and she begins her descent back over the threshold of the silver wheel, back into Pisces until the 13th of April. So it's about 42 days, which we are really asked to go within. We are really asked to review our relationships. It is a bit of a descent, so there will be some area in your life where you are going into a real deep dive. You are going through death and rebirth. It depends on the houses in your chart, but also the rest of your chart as well. If you have the desire to do so, you can let yourself die, you can let yourself be strung out, and then you can let yourself be reborn. So Venus's descent is very much linked to the myth of Inanna and Inanna's descent and death into the underworld and her resurrection. So I've discussed this at length in a podcast with the fabulous Maria Jones, so you can find all that over on Substack. So just to interject about Substack, the stuff that we are writing, the stuff that we are recording over on Substack is called Star Revelations, and it's very much about astrology and alchemy for the Aquarian Aeon. So it's a little bit more edgy than the kind of astrology that we would normally talk about on Facebook or YouTube. It's really looking into how we're going to move forward into the Aquarian Aeon, how we can use astrology, how we can use alchemy. We weave in magic, we weave in a lot of the teachings and a lot of things that we normally talk about when we are doing our Star Priestess training, but isn't necessarily in the general public. So if you want a little bit more of an edgy interpretation, you want to learn more about goddess astrology, you really want to listen to two priestesses in crime, you know, chewing the fat over how the astrology is playing out, then head over to Substack. I will add it into the comments because it really is a place where we feel a lot freer to talk about the subjects that really get us passionate. So going back to Venus's retrograde, so we're going to have Venus's retrograde on the 2nd of March, and then she is joined by Mercuria, I think on the 15th of March, and they're going to travel together so that Venus basically starts the ball rolling for what is a year of transformation. So she goes retrograde. Mercury, the planet of communication, also goes retrograde, pretty much following the same path as Venus as well. So they're going from Aries to Pisces, you know, from the new into the old, and then eventually they'll make their way back into Aries when they're going direct. And this is very much setting the tone for both Saturnia and Neptunia, moving into Aries, the first degrees of Aries in May, June time. But then we also see them retrograde, and we are truly preparing for the Saturn-Neptunia conjunction, which is at 0 degrees of Aries in February next year. This year is very much about preparation. Be prepared to have a lot of death and rebirth. If you know your chart really well, be prepared that the Aries Pisces cusp is going to be highly activated this year. What are you shedding? What are you letting go of? How and what does the new look like for you? And when there are retrogrades, it's going to really ask you, have you truly stripped away everything? Are you ready to move forward? So as we've moved into 2025, we're now in the second month, we're now in that final kind of Pisces energy, and it's been a really icky, sticky start to the year. So some people will have found it absolutely great, but if you are planetary sensitive, it's my new word of the day, planetary sensitive, you would have really felt this Mars retrograde from Leo into Cancer beginning to really bite. It's been really asking you to, one, look at your personal power when Mars has been in Leo, but two, when she moved in on the 6th of January into Cancer, there's been a real focus on home, foundations, you know, who are you? What do you want your home to look like? What is the energy of your home? And many people, friends and clients, are going through huge transformations in relation to home. Okay, so if you're going through that, if you feel like your year hasn't truly started, that you feel it's just not quite firing on all cylinders, you're not alone. This is going to be a year where we are not expanding, for example, externally. It's going to be a year where we are expanding internally, and the external will follow. So for those of us who run businesses, do this spiritual work for a living, this isn't about massive business growth. It's about you becoming the person that you truly are, doing the internal work, and then sharing that teaching with the world. It isn't about profit this year. It isn't about materialism and consumerism and gain. It's going to be about the internal work that you do that is reflected outwardly eventually, that pulls us all forward. There's going to be a real shift in business. So we are really looking this year to support and be of service to other people rather than massive rapid growth. I hope that kind of makes sense, but it really is about, and the question we should all be asking ourselves is, how can I be of service? How can I be of service? But also in that service, how am I not sacrificing myself on the altar to make sure that I am serving so many people that eventually I become burnt out? It's really going to be about individual one-to-one work, very small groups this year, being of service. So I really want you to ask, whether you're running your own business, whether you're feeling spiritual, whether you're not, but how can you be of service? And how can that service be altruistic and benefit everybody, but without you going into sacrifice? We're going to see this Pisces Virgo node shift really beginning to come in. Virgo is going to be really asking us to detox, to be of service. Pisces is going to come in and go, your spiritual life is super, super important. You need to be taking time to do the internal work. So that nodal shift, and particularly when we get to eclipse season, is going to be super interesting, because that's going to have the last eclipse in Libra, last eclipse in Libra, before we really truly go into this Pisces Virgo eclipse season, which will last till 2027. So get ready for change is what I'm going to say, and let this be the year that your transformation is done with ease and grace. And the best way of doing that is just to accept that transformation is going to come along, that we may not know the path ahead. Every time I've gone into view to feel into the energy of what is coming, I keep getting a little bit of a black curtain coming down with, actually at this moment in time, we don't need to know. We need to be in this integrating stage. We need to be in this place where we are truly embodying fifth dimensional living. And if you don't resonate with fifth dimensional living, let's say resonating with a living where you live from your heart. This isn't about, and there will be huge upgrades this year, obviously, to our energetic body, but this isn't about chasing the upgrade. This is about integrating. This is about allowing. This is about really allowing and cleansing, doing the deep work. Can these watery activated seas of Pisces wash away everything so that you can be rebirthed and reborn into that Aries energy? When Saturnia and Neptunia meet next year, you will be a different person. But we really have to surrender to the flow. We really have to surrender to Goddess, to Source Creator, whatever you believe in. For me, it's Goddess. Surrender and trust that even though we can't see the steps ahead, that they are going to be there at the time that we need them to be. It's almost as if the ascension process, the new earth process, fifth dimensional living, however you want to call it, is going on around us, but we're too busy chasing the outcome that we are going to lose sight of the outcome. We're too busy chasing that we're not actually doing the work to integrate it, which means it's not set on a really firm foundation. So I really want you to think about that, is how can you create that solid, firm foundation? So there can be a real desire to move quickly in these processes, but actually a year in galactic terms is minuscule. It's almost like a minute, it's like an hour, it's no time at all. So to actually surrender to the changes, to allow these changes to happen in what seems like a long time, a year, right? January to January feels like a long time, but it isn't. In galactic terms, it's just a blink of an eye. But if you can take that blink of an eye, if you can take that year to really integrate the energies, to understand, to do your research, to be human, to have a joyful life, you are going to find next year a lot easier. And you are really going to find that you are sailing through with ease and grace because you surrendered, you've accepted that it's all going to be changed, it's all going to be internal, and you're at peace with that. So this may be completely at odds with what other people are saying at the moment, and it's meant to be at odds because this is the information that I'm getting from my galactic guides, which is, whoa. Stop focusing, stop looking so far ahead, start coming back within and embodying the energy. Because until we embody the energy as a collective, we cannot move forward. So that's a little bit of an astrological update. It's a little bit of an ascension update. A lot of that is very much channeled information when they really want us to know something. So you're not on your own. Remember that you're never ever on your own. This is going to be a year where you are going to be of service to other people, very altruistic, what is the greatest good for everybody involved, but a time when you're really managing your energy so you're not in a place of sacrifice, and that is going to require us all to support each other as well. So I hope you've really super enjoyed this ramble, a lot longer than I anticipated. Couple of things to mention: please go over to Substack and support our Star Revelations Substack, particularly if you are enjoying a lot more edgy astrology, shall we say, alchemy, and we're going to be talking all sorts of different topics as well, and hopefully if they reply, we're going to have some really amazing guests as well. And secondly, I am coming to Germany and returning back to Germany in April, which I cannot wait for. I think I'm coming on the 12th and 13th, Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to do a weekend immersion into the Temple of Divine Sophia. Sophia very much is the divine feminine energies which are coming through for New Earth and Ascension, so we're going to mix in astrology. It's also full moon that day. It's also the Sunday 13th, the day that Venus resurrects herself as a morning star. So we're going to have a beautiful immersive weekend with Goddess. We've got a cacao ceremony, we've got a full moon ceremony, we're going to weave in Venus, we are going to go and journey deep to meet Goddess and really have a very held immersive weekend. So if you're interested in that, in the comments, because it's easier for me to do that, I will pop a booking link, and that is going to be just outside Stuttgart, and I cannot wait to see you there. So places are a little bit limited, they are already selling, so if you want your weekend in Stuttgart, I'd really advise to book with the early bird price because it will go up in March. So sending you all so much love, and love to hear your comments. Take care.